Hey everyone, it's Tesla Tom here. Thank you so much for joining us today on Ludicrous Feed. In today's video, we're going to go through a couple of things. Firstly, how much it has cost us to charge our 2023 Tesla Model Y in the first month of ownership. And secondly, we're also going to go through the Scan My Tesla app to see how much range the battery has dropped in the first month. So we'll go through that. But first of all, to start with, I just wanted to showcase this seat back protector from pimpmyev.com for our Tesla Model Y. It basically helps protect the back part of the front seats from, for example, children, from pets, just to keep that area looking good for longer. So it's very easy to install. This one already has it installed on this side, and then on the passenger side it's not yet installed. So they look pretty similar. So yeah, so original seat protector, you've got the seat pocket, and then the new seat protector, you've got a seat pocket as well. So nothing changes, but obviously this layer just protects that back of that seat, making it look good for longer against, like I said, children and pets. And easy to install. You just tuck the seat back protector into that slot there, and then it goes all the way around. And underneath, the product comes with 3 hooks, elastic hooks like that, 1, 2, 3, and they just latch onto areas under the seat, which I'll show you in a moment. But yeah, very easy to install. Okay, so you can see the bottom part of the protector, the hooks are there as described. There's 1, 2, and there's 3, and you can see there are just areas. For example, this one is just hooked around. You can feel it underneath here. It's pretty straightforward. There are sort of metal, you can hook that around, so and that keeps it very secure. See, that is not going anywhere. And yeah, so that's the seat back protector for the back of Tesla Model Y. Okay, so in that time I have pretty much installed the passenger side one, and all I need to do is just tuck the rest of the fabric in there. It's really simple, like I said. You can even do it one-handed. There it is, just tuck it in. Looks great. And yeah, nice and neat. And now all that's left to do is to just tuck the hooks into the bottom part. Okay, and just like that, it's done. There you go, nice neat installation, and nice and secure down the bottom as well. As you can see, just me installing it has caused some scuff marks already, so it's already doing its job, which is great. So there we are, seat back protectors from pimpmyev.com. Don't forget to use my coupon code TESLATOM. That'll get you 15% off across the entire website at pimpmyev.com. Details in the video description below. Alright, so let's get on with the rest of the video, and as I said, I'm going to go through how much it has cost us to charge this 2023 rear-wheel drive Tesla Model Y here in Sydney, Australia, in autumn, or fall you call it in the US. And this car obviously is made in the Shanghai Gigafactory in China. And at the moment the odometer says 1,896 kilometers care of a road trip to Canberra, which is about 300 kilometers away. So hence why the increased mileage in the last month. But let's go through the charge stats now, which is in the Tesla app. And this is a great native function of the Tesla app. So if you plug in your cost to charge the car in terms of electricity tariffs, then you'll have a pretty good indicator of how much it has cost to refuel or recharge your Tesla in the last whatever amount of time you've owned the vehicle. So let's have a look at the last 31 days. Actually, let's have a look at the last year, which is a bit more than 31 days. We got it on the 18th of April. Today's the 21st of May. So it's been about 30 plus 3 days. So 33 days worth of ownership of this Tesla Model Y rear-wheel drive in Sydney, Australia. And we have charged 321 kilowatt hours into this vehicle to drive that 1,800 kilometers or so. We've spent $26 in charging, and it says here in the stats that 73% of the time I charge this vehicle at home, 25% of the time we charge at a supercharger, at a Tesla supercharger, and this is 25% of the kilowatt hours or the energy charged into the vehicle, and 2% of the time outside of home or at a Tesla supercharger at a public charging station. I remember that time, it was actually at a AC charging station nearby, so not a public DC charger, public AC charger. So in terms of petrol savings, and let's have a look at what they say, how they work out this savings. It is calculated by estimating the cost difference between charging your Tesla versus paying for petrol in a comparable petrol car in the same region in order to drive the same distance. The calculation is based on average monthly petrol costs in New South Wales, which is where we are at. In May 2023, the average cost was $1.78 per litre, and April 2023, a bit more expensive, $1.88 per litre. So let's have a look at how they calculate a comparable vehicle. So let's see, it's assuming a Tesla Model Y is 25 miles per gallon, and I worked this out earlier, which is about 9 litres per 100 kilometres for an equivalent vehicle. Okay, so back to the app. So yes, I've spent $26 in the 33 days I've had this vehicle, and we've saved $236 because a petrol equivalent vehicle driving the same distance would have been $262 versus $26. So about 10% of the cost of electricity versus the cost of petrol. So having a look down here, so at home, the average cost for me charging this vehicle was 11 cents per kilowatt hour, and I'll show you how we worked that out. And you can see how much we paid in supercharging, which was $0 because I've got so much supercharging credit thanks to all the generous viewers over the years using my link to buy a vehicle. Nothing at work, nothing in other areas. You can also look at the cost as well. So all $26 came from charging at home. And the cost is, there we go, calculated by utility rate plan over the given time period. You can customize that. Supercharger is using the Tesla's billing data over the given time period as well, and that's dynamic based on time of charging. Work is the same. You can customize the work flat rate, and also other areas you can customize as well for a flat rate. They probably should modify that because obviously the costs are different depending where you charge a vehicle, but I guess it's an average cost if you can work out an average cost for your charging outside of home. Okay, so here in this area here you can edit your time of use for charging at home. So see here, I've actually set up my time of use tariff using my Powershop EV charging plan, which is fantastic. You can set up super off-peak periods, which is between midnight and 4 a.m. I only pay 7 cents per kilowatt hour. I'll just bring up the rate details. There we go. Yeah, you can discreetly put super off-peak time, off-peak periods, mid-peak, peak, and yeah, back to mid-peak and then off-peak. That's during the weekday. And then you can do the weekend schedule as well, which is different for my tariff. And we don't have a seasonal period, but you can set up seasons as well. So my tariff is the same all year round. But you can see the pricing there. So again, with Powershop, super off-peak period, which is the EV charging plan I'm on, 7 cents per kilowatt hour between midnight and 4 a.m. Off-peak is 15 cents. Mid-peak, which is that shoulder period, is 22 cents. And peak between 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. every weekday is 40 cents per kilowatt hour. I don't really get into that area because we've got a battery that can power the home during that period, so offsetting that expensive period. And feed-in tariff is 5 cents per kilowatt hour. And you can set up that home charging rate, and then the app will take care of the rest and tell you, yes, this is how much it costs you to charge your vehicle. And as you can see, up here was 11 cents on average, because most of the time, as you can see in this area here, I used 57% of the time I charged during that super off-peak cheap period between midnight and 4 a.m. 33% of the time, so 1/3 of the time, was during off-peak periods, and then 10% during a mid-peak shoulder period, and 0%, which makes me happy, during that expensive peak period, which is great. And you can see the breakdown in kilowatt hours as well, which is fantastic. And yeah, so that's really good. And then you can also look at the monthly stats as well. So it's not too different from all since I took ownership of this vehicle, because we've only had it for about a month or so. And then down here, you've got charging tips. And by the way, this currency is displayed based on your phone's language, British English and country AU. So this is all in Australian dollars. So the charging tips for the app says, make the most out of your charging your Tesla. You can learn to save money by saving on electricity, charge at home during off-peak periods, which is what I do. Schedule departure preconditions your cabin and battery, so you start each trip with your desired settings and maximize range. Or you can set up when to start charging as well, which is what I do normally, because my cheap period starts at midnight. You can also off-peak supercharging, so this is where that dynamic pricing comes in. It's cheaper during off-peak periods for supercharging. By supercharging during off-peak hours, you'll save less while reducing pressure on your local energy grid, which is great. Yeah, so that's how you save money, and idle fees kick in as well within 5 minutes of your battery topping up to your set percentage. So be aware of that. And settings as well. We've gone through that as well with setting up your charging tariffs. So that's great. That's the beauty of the Tesla app. Very discrete numbers, telling you how much you saved if you put in the accurate tariffs to start with, which I've done. So it makes me happy. I've only paid 10% of what I would have if I've driven a vehicle of equivalent size, driving the same distance compared to this Tesla Model Y rear-wheel drive here in Sydney, Australia. Okay, so the second part of this video, I just want to quickly show you the Scan My Tesla app to see how much of a drop in battery it has occurred in the Tesla Model Y after 1 month of ownership. So when I did the Scan My Tesla app on day 1 or 2 of ownership, the full pack was actually 61.3 kilowatt hours compared to now, which is 60.3 kilowatt hours. But it says here when new, which is the nominal size, it's 60.5 kilowatt hours. So yes, you can argue it's dropped by 1 kilowatt hour or 1.5% compared to nominal, which is 60.5. That's actually quite normal behavior. So if you've taken delivery of a brand new Tesla, it actually happens with lithium-ion batteries. Tesla actually gives you more range than they say they give you. And then over time, over weeks, a few months, it does settle down to a lower level, which is what it's doing now. It's sort of settling down to a lower figure of 60.3. And I suspect over time, it'll drop even more. So I might do another test in a few months' time, maybe at 3-month mark, to show that a full pack, and I do calibrate this battery because we've charged this car to 100% maybe 3 or 4 times now, or at least 3 or 4 times, because Tesla recommends you charge an LFP or lithium iron phosphate battery pack, which is what this is, at least once a week. So at 60.3 for a full pack compared to a nominal 60.5, I'm happy for now because it has settled down. As I said, it will settle down even more in months to come. I'll give you an update at that point. So yeah, and that's great. So that's what's happened. And range when full is now 432 kilometers, which is less than what it was when I took delivery, as expected. All normal behavior. Okay, so let's have a look at the signal list as well to give you some more stats. So what I'm interested in now is regen total is 188 kilowatt hours over drive total of 297 kilowatt hours. So I've actually regen the battery, or Joy has regen this battery because this is her daily drive, more than 50% of the time driving this vehicle. So she's very good with the accelerator pedal, making sure that she regens the battery quite often when she drives, which is great. And the other thing too I want to tell you is DC charge total versus AC charge total. Now this will be a little bit skewed because as we've seen in the charging stats, we've supercharged 25% of the time, which roughly correlates to this here, 103 over 287 plus 103. So out of the total 387 kilowatt hours, we've DC charged 103. So that's about 25%, I think. So as we own this vehicle longer and supercharge less because we do less road trips than our daily drive, you'll see that DC charge figure down. Obviously in an ideal situation where you have access to home charging or some sort of AC charging at work or at home, then that's what you should be aiming for. Less DC charging, more AC charging. Alright everyone, that's me, Tesla Tom, in our 2023 Tesla Model Y rear-wheel drive with the LFP lithium iron phosphate battery in Sydney, Australia, with this car being made in the Tesla Gigafactory in Shanghai, China. This is what you can expect if you take delivery of a car like this with regards to battery performance and longevity so far and charging, how much it costs. Again, I'll leave a link to my Powershop referral in the description below and in the comments as well. That's how much I pay for my charging at home. 7 cents between midnight and 4 AM every weekday. I think that's quite good, personally. Otherwise, yeah, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and until the next Ludicrous Feed video, happy charging.